Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning. A very warm welcome to all of you. It's
Good
almost
morning.
11, so we'll be starting in a while. And please, don't mind my voice because I've got a cold. So excuse me for that. So once again, welcome you all to this art-based technique workshop. Uh, My name is Dr. Riya Das. I can see a lot of people who have joined our previous workshops as well. So welcome once more and thank you for joining in, all of you. So a brief introduction about us. Emojar Group has been functioning for approximately 2.5 years, and many of y'all have been a part of our journey throughout. And this year, we plan to come up with the art therapy marathon, which you have been looking into in the social media posts and all. So, a little bit about it. Art therapy marathon, we aim to post more than 100 plus art therapy techniques. Now, you must be wondering why. Why are we actually looking into this aspect? Because in my 14 years of practice within a school system, even apart from the school system, with young children, adolescents, and even adults, I have felt that there's a need for certain tools which can be, very, very useful in understanding oneself, and especially the introspection part. Because during the therapy sessions, if it's talk therapy, even if it's CBT, sometimes it happens that there are certain mental blocks. You are unable to proceed through the therapy session. Not only the therapy session, even for individuals who are trying to, find themselves in the journey of introspection, art I found has been a very, very powerful medium in understanding what's actually happening with us, what are our conflict areas, what are our needs, and a lot many more. So what I felt, maybe all these art therapy techniques, if we can use it in our daily lives, it can be life-changing experience. I have been maintaining this. Currently, I'm again working on a journal. This is basically my art therapy journal. As you can see, there are few of them which are there. This is from one of my workshops and many more. So I don't know whether you're able to see it or not. All these helped me and also my clients to, uncover themselves. These are a few of the things which we have done earlier. So what I felt, even this pressed flower which we did from a nature therapy course. So all these things put together may seem that, okay, many people may not like art, may not be an artist. So what to do with them? See, first of all, art therapy is not about being an artist. It's just the process. Because if I give you an example of this, it's just a piece of paper and some splashes of color. Apparently, it might not be very meaningful to you, but when we try to figure out, when we try to journal in, when we try to see the more concrete images out of it after the process is done, it can be very, very eye-opening, at the same time cathartic as well. So you don't need to be an artist in order to start off art therapy, programs, or even if you're doing it on yourself, you need not be an artist at all. So the process, please keep in mind that the process is very important rather than the product. Product, of course, will give you a lot of insight, but then the process is extremely important. Now, a lot of you had questions about the art therapy marathon, how it will be functioning. So a brief, intro into that. We'll be doing certain live workshops, maybe perhaps every week or once in every 2 weeks. We'll be posting it on our social media as and when we are having it. And based on which we are going to give you certain assignments. We're going to go through the entire process and give you certain assignments. After you submit the assignments, we'll be sending out your certificates every month. So this will be the setup. And this will be a long-term process. It's not only a one-time thing. And what we are trying to build is a community of people who are interested in this particularly. So whatever techniques I know of, I'll be happy to share with you all. Once in a while, we have paid workshops. So if you are willing to join in, you can also join in there. But for the time being, we'll be having certain free intervention techniques every week. I'm planning to have it every Sunday, this point of time. And in case someone misses out, we'll be sending you the recordings. After you complete the workshop, we'll be sending you the links for submission of assignments. So if you feel that, yes, I don't want to submit my assignments, it's okay. You'll just get a participation certificate. But those who are willing to put in the hard work, effort, and learn more out of it, you can very well submit your assignments and get, a certificate, a proper certificate from us. So this is my introduction to the entire setup. So if you have any queries, I'll be addressing it maybe towards the end. And also, we generally don't spam our groups because there are so many people out there, and everyone, if they, you write, people get disturbed. So we keep a very limited number of posts in the group so that only meaningful content is delivered. But I would also request, if in the meanwhile, if you're stuck somewhere, please feel free to post your questions where we can help you. So it's more like a support group rather than just, exchange of workshop details. So this is my briefing. So can we start now? Are we all ready with the basics of art intervention?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you. So the agenda of these series, we'll not be able to cover all of this within this month because we started towards the end, but it might just trickle down to the month of May. So what I'm trying to cover is the primer for art therapy. Primer would be the very basics, the foundation, how to start off, what all things are required. So I'll be discussing a little bit today, maybe not the whole thing, because as and when we are going with the with more and more live sessions, I'll be discussing more in details. Second would be your wheel of colors, which we'll be doing first. It's about exploration of emotions. The third point would be the totems. Now, totem is a very interesting aspect. It's all about animals and spirit animals. So I'll be discussing about this. I wish to cover it today, but if not today, then it trickles down to the next week, depending on how much time we take with the first wheel of colors. Next would be the feeling poem. That's a journaling technique which we infuse into art-based therapy. Prayer flags. Prayer flags are more of into spiritualism, not exactly spiritualism, but also thinking about the gratitude fulfillment and how to feel grateful. Okay, so it's all about mindfulness and gratefulness. And then there will be many more. I haven't put all these in one particular slide because as and when we go ahead, I'll be giving you more insight into the same. And then there will be the art therapy support group, which we already have on WhatsApp and Telegram. And then we can figure out what are your questions and queries, and we can sort that out. Okay. And the certification part, the first 100 will get certified after you submit your assignments on time. Okay, so we'll give you a deadline and assignment link, and whichever technique which we are doing it today or even in the later days, you have to submit your assignment based on that. Okay, you'll be receiving mail and also in the groups which you are added in. Fine. So we start off with the basic introduction, which is called the primer of art therapy. So everything compressed together, I'll give you an overview. So art making versus art as therapy versus art therapy. Okay, so this is very important to understand the difference between the three. Art making is more related to how perfect I am in doing certain things. Say, for instance, if I show you this particular drawing, okay, so this is basically may not be the most perfect drawing. Okay, there are certain differences, there are certain errors in the drawing if you have to technically understand it. So we are not looking into art making. It's not about how colorful or how beautiful it is. If you're blessed with that talent, then it's a different thing altogether, but it is not an element of consideration. If someone who draws maybe very poorly, that person is also encouraged to come up with certain insights or maybe scribbles We generally start with scribble drawing so that the person feels comfortable and doesn't feel judged. Okay, so this particular drawing may be not technically correct, but this is what I have done for myself and for my introspection. So the process mattered. Now, art as therapy and versus art therapy. In India, we don't have many courses which are actually, giving you license to become an art therapist. There is a confusion that if I do this course, can I become an art therapist? No, you can't. You cannot label yourself as an art therapist because art, if you have to become an art therapist, which is not feasible in India, there was no concept of being an art therapist. Abroad, you have to have a license. You have to go through a rigorous course with number of hours invested in internships, number of hours invested in practice, and also supervision. And then only you are a certified art therapist. In India, there's a different perspective altogether, where maybe any diploma you do and you call yourself an art therapist, that is something very wrong. You can always call yourself an art therapy coach or an art therapy facilitator or art-based therapy interventions. All these are allowed. Since there are no regulatory bodies out here, so no one can charge you if you're even doing it. But at the same time, it is unethical to call yourself an art therapist. You can have art-based therapist or art therapy practitioner where you're involving all these strategies in your day-to-day life, counseling sessions. So it's like an infusion method. We don't only go by only art therapy-based techniques. Okay, so you'll be seeing a lot of art-based therapies, interventions, and the same. Yes, consultant can also be used, but you cannot call yourself an art therapist as such. Okay, there has been one course which is for masters in art therapy down south, but I'm not sure how good it is. So if you really want to get into this technique, this modulation, this method of intervention, you can always explore certificate courses, diploma courses, no harm in it. But be very careful whichever title you are using for yourself. And it needs a lot of research and lot of, permutation combination. When you start doing it, you'll see you are not understanding the entire thing properly or fully. So take help from others and try to understand their perspective also. Okay, so I hope this the differences are very clear. For art therapy, again, method is important. The process is important. It can be both directive and non-directive. Directive in the sense you're giving a set of questions, you're giving a set of instructions to follow, and then you're going ahead with the technique. So you are basically aiding the person with a lot of question answers, a lot of CBT, where they write down a lot of things. What we say journaling in a more creative way. That is there. And non-directive can be cathartic. Cathartic in the sense you vent out, you let go, you feel free to, calm yourself or calm your stress down. So basically these two are used. Educational requirements would be more of, it's best if you are a psychology background. Of course, it is recommended that you're from a psychology background, masters in psychology with any whichsoever specialization you had. Preferred if you have a clinical psychology background, because then you'll be understanding the entire setup, or maybe in stress management. Okay, so these are the basic qualifications. Even with graduation, you can do it, but it is recommended that you do it after your master's. Setup requirements, there's nothing as such as a setup requirement, because right now, if you have started practicing, and right now, even if you're into the profession for a very long period of time, you can always start off with the basics. You can have color pencils, crayons, a few sheets of good paper, not the basic A4 sheets. Even if you don't have good set of papers, A4 sheets will do for the time being. A set of color, watercolor. So a different assortment of colors and paper and basic stationery. That's all you need. You don't need a proper room or a proper setup for the entire art therapy intervention. And you can just keep maybe a small diary like this or a longer diary, whichever is feasible for you. I would always recommend you to, if you're starting starting art-based therapies with your clients or even with yourself, keep a dedicated journal, a blank journal with the thick watercolor paper with yourself, because then you'll be able to understand your progress, how you're progressing. And if you go back and look at your drawings or look at your work, it also gives you a lot of reflection how you've evolved over a period of time, or whether you are stuck at one point of time or what to do about it. Okay. So these are a few requirements. These are the primers. And apart from that, there's nothing much. If you can add music into it, nothing better than that. That involves the whole brain system, where you are involving your entire brain into the process, and it also relaxes your body at the same time. So if you have certain setup where you can infuse music into your art-based therapy techniques, nothing like that. And we'll be looking into introspection and healing for the time being. But just let me show you the modalities. These are 5 to 6 categories into which we generally look into. First one is painting and drawing. So it's hardcore, you paint or draw or color. So that's totally paper pencil. Next, in the era of the internet, we have shifted to digital photos also, where we do it online on Canva or on any software. We make collages and all. So that medium is also used if you're taking, especially if you're taking online counseling sessions. And if you're comfortable going online and doing it online or on maybe a tablet or a laptop. Next is sculpting and textile. This may not be very comfortable with a lot of people because they might not like handling certain things in the first course. So this comes a little later. Okay. And the next two parts are writing. This is basically an art-based infused CBT technique. Mostly CBT questions, or whichever questions we are asking, that can be transferred or transformed into some art form, and then the expressions are much more lucid. It comes out very easily rather than the hardcore journaling and writing. Many people do not prefer writing, so you can always motivate. And if you feel CBT is required for this client, or even for yourself, for your introspection, but you just hate writing, you can always infuse some form, the element of art or colors or whichsoever medium, and then infuse the writing part, which we'll be doing it today. The last part are collages. Collages are extremely important for setting goals. You must have heard about life goals, and you must have heard about the aims of life and what are the steps, how am I looking into my future, or if there are any certain confusions, how am I supposed to go about it. So collages help a lot with this. Apart from that there is and assessment based techniques, which I would not discuss any of them right now, but bits and pieces, yes, you can have for the fun element, because even yourself and clients will feel it. Okay, wow, this is nice. The assessment part which we're looking into, but assessment require a lot of training, a lot of hard work into the same. So there are various structured assessment system which you can use maybe later on, as and when you're learning and you're comfortable with this technique. So the basic purpose, first one is sensory stimulation, because many people who are feeling blocked or blotted, or there's a sense of derealization, depersonalization, for all those people, art-based techniques can be a wonderful medium to open up and feel the senses again. So we have heard about the grounding process, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 technique, and all the other grounding processes. So art-based techniques are also a form of grounding and mindfulness. So it's a great tool for sensory stimulation. It can be extremely cathartic. You feel relaxed. The stress goes away from your body over a period of time, or even in one single session. Because when we did these techniques with a set of people, even the coffee-based techniques, it's there on Instagram. You can check it out. It was extremely relaxing and comfortable. The smell of the coffee and the process, and you look at certain drizzles. So everything gives you a sensory stimulation and a catharsis at the same time. Blocked expressions are dealt with because many a times people will just, find themselves totally out of words. They cannot express themselves properly. So in those cases, in those instances, art-based therapies are extremely helpful. Even when you get difficult adolescents, especially adolescents, when they are very defiant and they don't want to open up, they feel that they know everything. That kind of a concept goes away when you intervene through these creative techniques. And of course, there's a symbolic meaning, the hidden meanings, which psychoanalytical theory always emphasize in your drawing. So anything which symbolizes or there are metaphors to be used, you generally go ahead with art-based techniques, and it's the best way out. Apart from your dreams, which you mostly forget, this can bring up a lot of your unconscious, subconscious mind and help you relate to your conflicts in your waking life. So that part is extremely interesting and also a little difficult to understand. So with this, any questions here? Maybe 1-2 minutes I can pause and understand if you have any questions. Yes, Trishita ma'am?
Ma'am, I want to know this about this hidden meanings, the symbolic. How can we will understand that hidden symbols? So we need some experience, but there is something that at least few things can we understand. So if you tell me that in
Yes,
detail.
we'll be we'll be doing first today. We'll be doing the color based technique. Okay, we'll be doing the color thing today. If we have time, I'll be moving off with the animal based thing. Animals are extremely important, and it's very interesting also. So you have basic templates for that. We have curated a number of hidden meanings. Again, a warning signal. Everything cannot be taken at face value if you're looking at hidden meanings. It has a personal value also. So, of course, as you said, you need a lot of experience in order to gauge what's exactly happening, what is happening in your subconscious, unconscious mind. But nevertheless, there's a set of templates, there's a set of, meaning. It's like a dictionary that if, say, for instance, a stone means solidifying certain things or being more confident or lacking confidence. It can be both ways, or maybe you're blocking out emotional affect. So these are certain metaphors which we train people to understand. It's not always going by the dictionary meaning of psychoanalytical theory. So that with time and practice you'll get to know. But for the time being, you can just go by whatever handouts we are giving you. You can just cross check. May not be 100% it is true. So you can always come back and clarify your doubts in the group or personally DM me. Okay, so with that, Sakshi, you want to say something?
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you. Yes. Hi. Tell.
Hello. Hi, ma'am. Actually, can you explain me once the art therapy and art as therapy? I
Okay,
couldn't
art
get it.
therapy is generally not used in India because we don't have a rigorous course in India. Okay, so it's nothing curated only for art therapy. We have a number of certification diplomas everywhere. It's popping up. Even we are doing it. So what happens there is it's just a kind of a short-term course where you are just exploring superficially, upar se. But abroad, they have a full term course with a lot of supervision involved, with a lot of internships involved, a lot of practice involved. Only after that, they give you a license. Okay, with that license, you become an art therapist. But in India, you cannot call yourself as an art therapist. There's no legal binding to it, even if you call. But it is unethical to call yourself as an art therapist. You can always call an art therapy practitioner or a coach or art interventions in therapy, but never an art therapist. Okay, that's what we feel. That's what we have done our research on and we have understood. So the techniques also differ a lot because they heavily rely on assessment. And assessment is a lot more difficult than what we are looking into, because what we'll be doing for the time being is introspection and a blend method of journaling. Okay, so that will open up a lot of thought processes, and then eventually you can get into the hidden meanings and the symbolic meanings on your own. So it will be like a transition. It's not a sudden thing that we tell you certain things and find out the meaning from the picture. It's never like that. Okay, so you need to learn from your own experiences, and every individual in psychology, we have understood, we have reiterated that even if two people or three people come with the same problem, it's never 100% the same. So there's no 100% in psychology. Okay, so colleges and all will maybe post a few posts on our social media. So I'm not getting into the details right now, otherwise we'll be grossly delayed. What I can understand, we can only do the emotion wheel today. Okay, so are we
Thank you,
ready?
ma'am.
Are we ready? Are we ready? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
As an icebreaker, I would just like you to maybe take up a color pencil or a crayon, whichever you have in front of you. Just pick up a color. That's all. Just pick up whichever you're drawn towards, pick up a color and draw a small circle and color it in. Okay. Just color it in quickly. And let me know in the chat box which all colors you picked up and what it means to you. It's not the symbolic color. We are not getting into the symbolic meaning of colors. Just pick up a color and color in and give it a name maybe, or how you feel about it, whichever you're comfortable. Light pink, pink, blue, just name it also, how you feel about it. If I have to go by today, I can put it as maybe, I don't have to look through my color box. Let me see. Okay, she says pink affection. Maybe I'll go by this color, lavender, which I'm currently, obsessed with. Everything, my phone cover, everything is lavender right now these days. So I understand why it's happening. So this is my color and I would maybe name it as peace. Okay, calmness, happiness, joyful, pink. I can see a lot of pinks today. Blue, pleasant and calm, gray, low energy. Okay, great. Great, great. That's fine. So you have picked up a color and you have named it and you have given it a purpose, right? So color psychology is very interesting and a lot more scientific than we can imagine. So we'll be exploring a technique with colors today and we'll be exploring emotions. Okay. And in the end, I'll give you a set of questions to journal in and try to understand, introspect what exactly is happening with your life right now and what are your goals at this moment or what are your blocks at this moment. So emotional regulation is basically one major aspect when we start off with art-based therapy. The reason why we need to understand our emotions are very basic, because if we don't acknowledge our emotions, we'll never be able to process it in a proper way, and especially our negative emotions. So this will help you regulate what you have right at this moment, and especially if you're feeling frustrated, lack of love, or maybe irritated most of the time, and then find out why it's happening. Okay, so this technique will give you an overview as to what you can do about things around you. And we'll be giving you a PDF with the color meanings. Don't go wholly by it. Try to also introspect and give meaning as you did right now. You gave meaning to your own color. So no matter what it actually means, you always have the power to name it and understand what you exactly need at this moment. Okay, so right now I would pause for 30 seconds and you have to quickly get up and get anything which is circular. I hope you have a piece of paper with you and your colors ready. And what you need to get is get up from your place and get something, anything which is circular. I've got this. I cannot leave my place and go get it and play this game, but yes, you can, of course. So your time starts now, 30 seconds, and pick up any random circular object and come up. Quickly. And let me know when you're here.
Does it have to be a certain size?
No, not necessarily. Anything that will fit your paper. That's it. Not a very small, tiny one, however, because you need to write in and color in.
This will work.
Yes, absolutely. I've also got the same size. Anything will do. Not a very tiny one. Whatsoever, you can always come up with it. No problem.
Ma'am, I got the cap of the
Yeah,
water
yeah.
bottle.
Fine. No problem. So you've got your paper. I hope everyone is back. So you've got this paper. Now you sit comfortably. First, be comfortable in whichever position you're in. Okay. Um, take your circular object, whichever you have, and just draw a circle. If you don't have a circle object, draw it freehand, whichever way you are comfortable.
Are we supposed to use the colors which we have selected or any pencils?
Oh no, I'll give you the instructions. So you draw a circle right in the middle of the paper, wherever you want to. In fact, why I asked you all to get up and get the circular objects in your therapy setup, you can keep a number of things which are circular and ask the person to get up and get it. Because see, it's very easy to give them the supplies, but it's also mindful for them to find out. They become more alert before the activity. So it's important you give them that activity to do. That breaks off from the monotony of the session and gives them a space to explore and come back. So their mind is a little more alert than what it was. You have to assume that they are in distress. That's why they have come to meet you. Okay. So you have to break that for some time and make them more prepared and more fixated to the activity which you'll be doing. Okay. So you might not feel that, okay, why was it necessary? Why couldn't she just tell me to bring it beforehand? Why this hassle? But it's always a game-based technique which excites people. So try to do this. It's not a mandatory thing. Yes, masking tape, anything will do. Anything at all. There's no right or wrong in art-based therapies. Okay. So once you're done, are you done, all of you?
Yes, ma'am.
What you need to do is, I'll show you the avoid this small circle inside. Just try to divide the circle into 8 sections. Okay, do it freehand only. There's no compulsion that you have to draw it with a scale. If you avoid using scales, so try to draw it freehand and make 8 sections. I'm going back a little. So once you have your 8 sections, now all of you, can you write a few emotions? If you can name a few emotions in the chat box, we can use it as a glossary. Just name a few emotions in the chat box. Happiness, sadness. There are so many, innumerable emotions. Happiness, anger, disappointment, frustration, excitement, distress, frustration, loneliness. A lot of people are writing frustration. Okay. Joy, anger, happiness, sadness, calm, dejection. Yes, good. Dejection is also one of the most important ones. Jealousy, expectation. Okay. Excitement. Yes. Stress, feeling low, lighthearted, wonderful. Guilt. Yes. Depressed, lonely. Perseverance, confusion, content, shameful, shock, grumpy. Yes, grumpy is also great. Slow, wow, that's nice. Jittery, wonderful. Bliss, oh my God, you have come up with a lot. I'll just extract all these things and put it in my glossary and send it across to you. Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much. Keep writing. Now, what I would like you to do is the first step. The first step is actually done. The second step is also done. Now, on the edge of each triangle which you have drawn, like these, okay, the periphery of the circle, each of these sections, write a feeling. You can take it from the group chat, which everyone is writing into. You can take it from there and write a feeling around the border. Okay, try not to write it inside because we'll be coloring in. So each of these 8 emotions, pick up the most dominant 8 emotions, which you feel is correct, not what others feel. Pick it out, or you write down your own emotions around the circle for each of these triangles. Okay. So if you're done, once you're done, you will have 8 triangles with 8 feelings written on top of each triangle. Okay, I hope it's okay. So each of these triangles will have one emotion written around it. So we'll pause for say 5 minutes and write it down. You can refer to the chat box. And also keep a note as to which emotions you're writing first and last. Okay, don't force yourself to go by right or wrong. This emotion should be first. No shoulds and buts. Okay, just go with the flow. Whichever emotion came to your mind, just put it down without thinking. Okay, without thinking. You can use a pencil or a pen, whichever you're comfortable with. If any questions, please ask in the meanwhile. Done. Okay. Few people are writing down. I'm also done with my part. So, emotions that I chose were hope, excitement, joy, irritation, anger, loathing, happy, guilt. Okay, this is what I chose out of the entire lot. And this came in more spontaneous. Here I would like to put across that whichever is spontaneous is the most important thing. If you force yourself to do certain things, that again blocks your emotional expression. So always motivate anything which is spontaneous. Don't let people think too much and then do it. So art-based technique is not the thinking part. It's always the flow which comes in. Okay. So give them a very short window of time, say 30 seconds to 1 minute. I've given you 5 minutes because it's online. But when you're doing it in front, even with yourself, don't give yourself too much of time. So approximately it should take maximum of a minute for writing this down. Okay. Although I'm in a phase where I am low on energy, but the color, I couldn't read it. I'll be reading your chats. If there are any questions which goes unaddressed today, we'll discuss it. I'll put it down maybe somewhere or mail it to you or whichever way we can. Okay, as a FAQ, I'll put it up somewhere. So you can put your questions. If I don't address it, I will do it later. So I hope most of you are done. It shouldn't take you more time than this. Now, after this, what you do is choose a color that you closely associate with the feeling you have written. Okay, and color it in the triangles. It can be a combination of any color medium. So each of these emotions which you have written for each triangle, you have to spontaneously choose a color. Choose a color and fill in the triangle. Say, for instance, if I have to go by hope, I'll be choosing, say, green for it. So I will fill up this entire triangle, the hope triangle, with green. So you can mix and match any color you want to with pencil color, watercolor, crayons, or a mixture of all three. It's up to you. Okay. So fill in that triangle with a particular color which you feel associates with the emotion. Whichever you feel is correct. Okay. So I'll be starting off mine. Let's see what comes up. This you can take a little bit more time because coloring takes a little more mindfulness. This will also help you relax, become more mindful, and also associate. I'll be doing a blend of light green and dark green with hope.
Ma'am,
Yes, please.
I have the 8 triangles here, and
Yeah.
I mean I'm just trying to tell like what I did. First is like I had happy, sad, and angry were the first 3 identifiable emotions, like
Okay.
impulsively. Then I added guilt, compassion, surprise, and grateful. But
Okay.
actually, happy, sad, and angry, I gave orange.
Mm-hmm.
Sad and angry also I gave actually orange only.
So that's fine.
Hopefully I gave different colors.
And
That's
not
how.
mandatory that you have to give different colors. Whichever
Oh,
color you're drawn towards, you have to, color in that.
right.
So it's okay. Even if you have all the emotions as one single color, that also has certain introspective meaning.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll be journaling in after this.
Because the feeling with which I actually took happy, sad, and angry is I would actually go for the sad and angry emotions also with the I will try to make myself happy during that particular time. So maybe I select that. That's
Yes,
how I thought.
yes, yes, absolutely. So you must have attended our previous workshops where we started, finding the connection.
Yeah.
So this is what I colored in for hope. Manjima, you're not audible properly. Your voice is breaking. Hello? Pencil, crayons, both. Yes, of course. Anything will do. Pencil, crayons, both. You can, yes, yes. Great, Jinesha. Okay. I am done with hope. My first circle. So a basic, what do I say? Basic associations would be first read the emotion and then pick up a color which closely associates and then color it. Okay. I'll be filling up a little later because I have to. I hope most of you are done by now. Since I was talking, I couldn't finish. But yes, maybe I'll introspect a little later. So the colors which I used, I would like to share it with you all for myself, just for an introspective viewpoint. So this is how my entire sphere would look if I color it. It's mostly green, yellow, purple, and brown. So you may be having your own color wheels. If you can share it with the class, it would be great. If you can just switch on your camera and share it, or maybe post it in the group, that would be great. We can see the color modalities. Okay, that's a wonderful mixture of colors. I can see a lot of pinks, blues in one, and yellow. Okay, there's more of red and yellow. Shafaq's drawing in a little bit of blue and green. Okay, maybe you can, after the workshop is done, you can post your color triangles if you're comfortable. You can post it in the group so that people can also see what all ranges are there, what all responses are there. That would be great. If I have to go by mine, it's mostly green, yellow, and brown. So that's the spectrum which I'm in right now. And purple, of course. Purple dominates. So I hope all the 8 triangles are colored. Now we'll move on to the next step. Now just take out 1 minute or 30 seconds and reflect on as to how your color wheel has come up, or whether there are too many bright colors or too many dull colors or too many mixture of colors, or is it the same all throughout? Like some people were saying I did orange only for everything. For me it's mostly green and purple. For a lot of other people it can be a mixture of colors all throughout. So just pause for some time and try to figure out which all emotions are the most important right now to you. Okay, out of these 8 emotions which you have fished out from so many hundreds of them, which emotion and which color actually resonates with you? Which are you more drawn towards? And this might be the most important emotion right now for me, or maybe I'm feeling right now. This can be some area of conflict, or this can be some area of hope. Whichever it is, just try to figure out that first. And also try to look at the color which you have put in there. I'll come to the color meanings a little later, but right now don't get into the meanings of colors because that's going to confuse you otherwise. Okay. So the next step, I'm moving on if it's okay with everyone. Questions for discussions would be, and it's great if you can write all over the page or take out a different page and write down journaling, because this will help you introspect, and even your clients, because this is one part where we infuse CBT into a creative process. Why CBT? Now, if I had to ask you in the very beginning that write these questions, you would be clueless what's happening, or you may not be interested at all. But since we have something which is colorful, which is drawing based, you would feel like doing it. So here, right at this moment, we kind of introduce certain introspective questions. Many of you all may not be comfortable writing, but it's also an area where you can explore just by thinking about it. Okay, so that will give you some direction into where you're heading towards. So you can note this down, or else I'll upload the PPT, no problem. Which feelings did you write down first? So if we go by the analytical viewpoint, if I have to tell you, the first emotions are the most powerful emotions, and maybe that is what is dominating you. So the first question is all about your dominant emotion. You can write that down maybe as a note. The first emotion which you went through is your dominant emotion right now. See, now dominant emotion doesn't mean you have it in abundance. For example, say you have come up with happiness or some positive emotion. It doesn't mean that you have that in abundance in your life right now. It can be something which you are struggling with. Say there's a lack of happiness maybe. And especially when you kind of tally the color. Okay, anyone who has happiness in the first triangle, the first emotion or the dominant emotion? Anyone? Okay, joy. And which color have you used for that, if you can write down? Calmness, any kind of positive emotion and the color associated with. Say, Manjima, if you can share happiness with which color? Purple, pink. Okay. Anyone who has happiness with, say, brown, gray, or any other colors which are towards the dull end? Black, dark blue. Trishita has it. Okay. Happiness is to
No,
black.
no, 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 ma'am. Actually, I use green and red both color for happiness,
Okay,
and that
okay.
is my first feelings for this thing.
Okay.
But
Great.
actually,
If yes, if in case you have a positive emotion with a color which is say brown or black or gray, these three in the spectrum, then it might be a kind of a lacking somewhere. You know, that particular emotion is somewhere lacking in your life and you're striving for it. Maybe that has become your primary agenda of your life right now. Otherwise, it's okay. Pink, blue, yellow, green, you can always look into, reference into the dictionary and find out that yes, happiness means, say, yellow. Yellow means learning. So learning, if I want to become happier, I would cater to more of new learning. Okay, or maybe if it's purple, it's all about imagination, daydreaming, and going into spiritual realm or creativity. All these things, if I put into a positive emotion, that means that activity will bring me more joy. So it's like a direction. But I'm just pointing out here, if in any case, if you have a person who's coming up with a lot of trouble, they will associate happiness with negative colors. Not negative, actually, more towards the dull color range. Okay, dull colors are not always bad, but it's an association with a positive emotion is a negative connotation. It has a negative meaning. So you can always explore. Say, for instance, a person who is written as joy to be gray. Okay, so there is a lack of joy in that person, and you need to explore further what can bring joy to the person, because gray is associated more with maturity. It's not a negative color, but too much of gray. And if the first color is gray, that means the person is undergoing a lot of boredom in their lives, or there's too much of responsibility in their lives which they are loathing, and thereby they cannot be happy. Okay, so this association is very important. So the first color is your dominant emotion which you're going through. What about confused emotion with white? Confused emotion with white. Confused white, say for instance, if I have to go by the color meaning and its significance, white is more about shrouding the emotions. You're letting go of emotions. There's an emotional numbness. You become more self-centric. You reject other people's emotions. Okay, so try to introspect that way as well. That white always doesn't mean is a positive, calm color. Okay, which emotion have you written with white? You wrote, I've missed out. White is equal to joy. So maybe if white is equal to joy, maybe not letting in people too much into your life. You need your own personal space, basically that. So getting your own personal space will be extremely joyful for you. If people can give you that space, if relationships can give you that space, you feel joy inside, and not taking too many responsibilities or too much from other people's. There's a second-hand stress, concept of second-hand stress. When we choose white, we try to reject that second-hand stress. If someone is in distress, I listen to the person and I also get distressed. So if you're choosing white, you basically are blocking out the emotions from there. So it's not a bad thing to do. It's a good thing to do. Okay, white with confusion. Confusion may be related to, it's a behavioral aspect, first of all. It's not a pure emotion. Confusion may lead to white selection in this case, that since you're shrouding of emotions, since you're blocking out emotions, that makes you feel a little bit guilty, or maybe keeps you in double mind. So might be there's a confidence issue where to draw the boundaries. Okay, so try to introspect in that way.
Dr. Ria,
Yes,
Anu
ma'am.
here, I have a question.
Yes.
I've seen some people draw negative emotions with bright colors. So what's
Yes.
your insight on that?
See, bright colors, very bright colors, like too much of yellow or fluorescence, or too many bright colors on the page, all three elements put together, it might indicate some form of anxiety, underlying hidden anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, generally people who are very anxious by nature will always choose extremely bright colors or too many colors on the page. Just going by the look of the page, you will understand that if there are too many colors on the page, there might be certain hidden anxieties.
So even when it's related to negative emotions, I've seen people write isolated, overwhelmed, and loneliness, orange, bright orange for loneliness. So how
Yes.
does that correlate?
See, if you have loneliness, bright orange can be an indicator of positivity, but if you're using it too often, it's about a confusion state as to where you're going to get that fulfilled. If I'm lonely, I'm jittery about moving out or getting in contact with other people. So that can be a social hindrance, social anxiety. Okay,
Okay.
through which you're expressing through orange. Orange is a positive color where you're outgoing, extroverted. But if you are lonely at the same time, so there might be certain challenges about approaching new relationships, about approaching new people, new situations. So there's an underlying social anxiety aspect.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Hello, ma'am.
Right.
Uh, what if when we have a mixed emotion, like
Mm-hmm.
people are often used very frequent colors, and sometimes in a particular situation, mostly people used to prefer only black. So what it signifies?
See, black is a shrouding color. Shrouding in the sense you're the most comfortable in black if you have lack of confidence. So you like to be in the background. At the same time, you are kind of gullible also. Gullible in the sense people, whatever they are saying, you're just registering in. It's the exact opposite of white. So if you have black as a dominant color all throughout, it can be a sense of extreme lack of self-confidence. You're not very sure about yourself. You're going by whatever other people are saying, doing, thinking, and you are easily affected by it. So it's like the other people have influence you on you, and you cannot draw your own boundaries. You have great difficulty in drawing boundaries. So basically, boundary setting and helping the person come up with their own confidence level helps here. So that's one of the major things. It's not only about black being a psychotic color. You know, it doesn't indicate psychosis always. But black is generally used to hide and move away from the social setup or not being very confident. Okay. So maybe
Um,
balancing it off with a little bit more positive color. Green is the most balanced color. So maybe using more of green will help a person, or maybe coloring more with the green. I will come to that. Will help a person more.
ma'am,
Yes,
another.
yes, tell
Mm,
me. Anything else?
yes, yes. Actually, this session, I'm looking you, and this session is a very good session. So, like you are communicating to us, but what you actually wore, it's black, and what you have been used in your nail paints, it's a white color. So, does cloth choosing is something reflecting our personality or our moods?
See, for me, I've been always a very jittery person about social interactions. I was very, very nervous. I used to always get a D or an E in debates wherever I had to face social settings. I would say not my nail paint is white or anything of that sort. Just that's just for for a while. But yes, if you have to go by my cloth preference, I more stick to darker colors because then there is an underlying lack of confidence also somewhere. Okay, which of course I'm working on. But yes, color choosing in your clothes dominantly, if you have certain dominant colors, that will also reflect a kind of state which you are into, a mental state which you're into, where there are certain personality issues, certain confidence issues, certain social issues which comes up.
Ma'am, you were saying that you have been jittery of social interactions and all, but let me tell you, you are doing a great job. I am
Thank you so
really
much.
liking the session, and you have a lot of knowledge, and you are doing a great job, ma'am. Thank you,
Ma'am, you're on mute.
ma'am. We can't hear you.
Thank you so much for all the nice comments. But yes, I'm still in the learning process. There's a lot to learn from other people as well, and thereby this community where we can exchange ideas and get this forward into the system. What I feel.
Ma'am,
So
I
just
want to share something.
yes, ma'am.
মানে follow a lot of things of yours, like your Insta pages, next door wala thing, and this emoji. I totally become a fan of you, and my wish was that one time, welcome ma'am, to see you once. I want to see in you my life, but one day
Sure, I'm so
suddenly
glad. I'm
I
so
met you at my office, and when I saw you, I just मैंने ऐसा लगा कि मुझे आपको देखना ही मैंने I don't want
okay.
to.
Can be you're embarrassing me, and we're wasting other people's time also. Thank you so much, Sushita. I'll be glad to meet all of you. I'll be very
Thank
happy
you,
to.
ma'am.
Thank you. We'll soon meet up.
Ma'am,
Okay, can we move
I
on?
have a query. Can I ask you now?
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am, supposing if I want to do a course like like a diploma in art therapy or something, because I'm practicing as a counseling psychologist.
Mhm.
I've done my PG in psychology, and I've done CBT and RABT. Some have some workshops, some certifications I've done. I'm very much interested in your, because I've attended your sessions only, in art
Mhm.
therapy, and
Yes.
you're my role model basically. Like, how to actually be as efficient as you. I know
No,
it's
no.
a dream anyway, but basically I want to get into a proper course or diploma where I can take, ma'am. Can you just direct me there?
Ma'am, I haven't thought of any diploma courses, but you can always take up this marathon thing. I feel you'll get the hang of things. And see, the techniques which I was talking about, the intervention techniques or the introspection, not introspection, sorry, the assessment techniques, that comes under the diploma,
Hmm.
which I feel needs to be curated after a lot of thought processes, like whichever technique can be useful for whoever is taking up, because otherwise there's no point doing a diploma.
Yeah.
So give me some time, maybe I'll curate something and come up with it. But for the time being, I feel this art therapy marathon will go on for a pretty long period of time. So
Okay.
let's see how it goes, and then maybe I'll come up with something meaningful. I just
Sure,
don't
ma'am.
want to
Ma'am,
do it for.
apart from this, is there any other, you can say, a college or something where I can, or any online thing or distance learning, can any particular college I can apply for art therapy, ma'am?
College, there's one, I forgot the name, but that's pretty new. It's a full-time thing. I'm not sure whether they will take in students at this point of time. But yes, what I can do is after this, I can do a little bit of research and send you across a name list,
Yeah.
which maybe I can put it up as a blog on. We'll
Okay.
keep you updated
Yeah,
about it.
yeah. And if you do sometimes, if you can make a course of
Surely,
diploma, I'll be, maybe we can join.
surely, surely. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you for all the things. Now we are moving on. The second question, which feelings are you currently experiencing? So, which feelings from these 8 emotions are you currently experiencing? You can list down top 3. Okay, so that can give you an insight as to what needs to be done at this moment. So, maybe you can circle it out, or maybe you can write it down. My first emotion was a negative emotion. And then if I have to circle down the next 3, I would go by 2 positive and 1 negative emotion, I guess, which is my present state of mind, where I can connect all 4 of them in a way. And also the color chosen, sorry, the color chosen can also give you certain hidden meanings. At this point of time, I would just like to tell you very briefly about colors. I'll give you the handout where you can read more in details as to what each color signifies and how a positive, negative emotion can be associated with a positive or dull color. Okay. So I'm going by the first color, which is red. Red is an indicator of frustration, anger. On the negative side, it can be an indication of extreme energy, bubbliness, or a lot of excitement also, passion also, love also. So red can be both ways. So match it up with your emotion and see whichever category you fall into if you're using red. Okay. Next would be orange. Orange again is an outgoing social color where you're very positive, jovial. It's a happy color. But if you have too much of it, that's a kind of a social inhibition. You have certain social anxieties, underlying social anxieties which come up. Okay, if you're using too much of it. Otherwise, orange is a good color to go ahead with. People who generally suffer from lack of confidence or maybe hopelessness can use a little bit of orange in their everyday life. Okay, so this one done, and then you have yellow. Now, yellow is generally related to concentration. So, concentration in the sense you pay attention. It's an intellectual color. So, if you have more of yellow, it's about learning. You like to gather knowledge. There is new learning into your system, or maybe you are exploring new opportunities. But if there is too much of yellow, it indicates fear. Fear can be out of guilt, fear can be out of anxiety. So if you are associating yellow, or if you have too much of yellow on your circle, try to figure out whether there is any kind of fear inside you. And if yes, then what? You can write it down while you're journaling on this. Okay. Next would be, um, you're done with orange, yellow, red. Okay. The next color would be your pink. Pink is an empathy color. Empathy in the sense you feel affection towards others, you feel empathetic. That means you can place yourself in the other person's shoes and understand their perspective. It's a color of warmth. You share a lot of affection towards the person, or you are a very lovable and kind-hearted person if you are associating it. But if you have too much of it, too much is, it's another, say, 15 minutes the workshop will run. Otherwise, you can watch the recording if you're in a hurry. Pink would be if too much of pink is used, or it's not present, not present, you're not going by the not present part. If too much of pink is used, you get easily affected by other people's emotion. Like I told you, secondhand stress, you take in a lot of stress yourself. You kind of go with the flow of what other people are feeling, and you take all the burden on yourself, and you also start feeling that pain. So it's like you cannot manage the pain you're taking from others if it's there. Too much of pink is there. Next is green. Green is considered to be a very balanced color. Whenever you are in a confusion state, using more of green will bring back balance, clarify your thoughts. But if it is associated with a negative emotion, it's an indicator that you need to pause for some time. Sit still, pause, don't react. Maybe meditate to an extent and try to figure out the answers. Okay, once you pause, things get more clearer around you. Once you're in an agitated state, you can't think clearly. It's like metaphorical. If you cannot see through boiling water, so you need to first stop boiling inside, stop your thoughts, and then you can see everything what lies under the vessel. Okay, similarly, our thoughts also, you need to calm down, pause, take a break. Okay, green might be an indicator of that, because you might be overwhelmed if it's associated with a negative color. If it's associated with a positive color, then positive emotion, then it would be an indicator that yes, things are going fine and you're in a balanced state and you have hope, you have that positivity to go ahead with it. Next would be blue. Blue is a communication color. If you're using blue, it might indicate that you're communicative, you're social, you are, voicing your opinions to an extent. But if it's a dark blue, it's a very dark blue, it might be shrouding of communication. There's a blockage of communication somewhere, and you might be shutting yourself out. That's why we say that people who are using very dark blue colors are depressive by nature. Why depressive? Because they're shutting themselves up. They're bottling up the emotion. They're going through distress. But blue, balanced blue or association with a positive color may indicate clear communication. Okay, so expression of thought, expressive, being expressive will bring a lot to the table. Okay, when you're talking about emotions. So whenever there's a blockage in expression, there can be indicators of sadness, sorrow, aloofness, isolation, and the same. Next would be your purple. Now, purple is a very interesting color. Purple and violet and mauve, all these ranges. If you look into purple, it's basically a color which gets you into the high flying thought level, because you're daydreaming a lot. You believe in spiritualism, you believe in, not about religion, but spiritualism. You believe in magic happening, you believe in all the fantasy related things. Now, there's no wrong in it. It's okay. It's a great way of escapism. What I feel I'm going through right now, because everything I choose is purple. So it might be an escape from reality, okay, from certain things which are stressing you out, from certain things which are putting you down. So it's a kind of a temporary relief for you to get into a space, into a safe space, into a place where you can feel safe for the time being. But now if it's used too often for a very long period of time, that kind of disconnects you with the reality. Okay, so be very careful. If you see a recurring pattern of violet or purple or lavender or mauve, try to talk to the person about bringing the thoughts down. The best way is to journal, write down. or do certain grounding exercise which can bring them back to reality, or use more of green, orange, all these earth colors. Blue, sky blue, violet, purple, all these are sky colors. Okay, so the more you're into the sky color, it can be a little more grueling towards the end, because then you are always in your own thought process. You won't be in contact with the reality. Little bit is very good for temporary escape, but not always. Okay. Uh,
Ma'am, I used guilt as a, I mean, the emotion which I'm presently experiencing, and I use light blue for it. So,
light blue is a kind of a very, what do I say, a very young color. Young in the sense you are joyful, you are more like a kid. Immaturity, I wouldn't say immaturity as such, but you kind of have a carefree thing. So which one did you associate?
guilt.
Guilt.
GUIL. Oh, yeah.
So something you can explore, something which is related to a childlike feature. Maybe you feel that there, if I kind of behave in a particular immature way, I might annoy other people and I might start feeling guilty if I only think about myself. See, if we relate sky blue, it's only about thinking about yourself as a kid. You know, kids, how do they react? They want whatever they need. They don't care what other people need. So might be that indifference might cause you to feel that way.
Okay. And, I mean, what is the balancing color I should use then? Supposing
The
if
balancing color can be, your next one would be a blue, a royal blue or something where you can communicate your needs.
communication needs. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, so moving on, gray. Gray is a mature color, a dull color. Too much of gray again is indicating boredom and lack of life, you can say, because if you're using it too much or with again with a negative emotion associated with it, it might bog you down, make you feel more depressed. So if you have any gray indicators in your color wheel, try to figure out, why am I feeling so dull and bored over here? Okay, what is the aspect behind it? Being anxious and being gray can be that, gray again is associated with maturity. So if you are not being mature, if you're being kind of yourself, there might be an indicator that you're feeling anxious about it, that you expect yourself to be very mature, or you've got a feedback from everywhere that, okay, be mature, act your age, and be more responsible towards it. So you feel that there's a need for being more mature, but at the same time, you feel nervous, anxious to step into that zone about yourself. Gray is always related to boredom. Too much of boredom can be detrimental to you. So try to figure out how you can balance it off. Whichever emotion you're going through, try to balance it off with a more positive, earthy color. Brown, again, similar. Brown is a little more positive than gray, because brown can also mean there's a stagnation of learning. There's a stagnation of thought processes where you feel you've gained a lot of wisdom and you need to stop now. So it can be an indicator of blocking, stopping, pausing, which you can counter effect by green or maybe a yellow. Black, again, I've already discussed. Black is a shouting color. You want to hide in the background. You don't want to face people. So orange will help here. Yellow will help you. Green will help you. White is a rejecting color because it rejects all colors. And if you're using too much of white, try to understand why you've become so stiff with yourself. Why are you so rigid about not letting in people inside your mind? Or what stops you? What are the incidents which happened that stopped you? How you can, counter this. So that can be an indicator. Any other color I've missed? I don't think so. For the timing, I think all the colors I have discussed. Anything which is fluorescent, like this one, fluorescent yellow, fluorescent orange, indicates some kind of underlying fear and anxiety. Okay, so try to associate, if you have used fluorescent colors, why that particular emotion, what are you anxious about with that particular emotion. Sit with the emotion and try to figure out. See, I'm not getting into all of it because that's going to take another hour or so. Eventually, I'll give you the feedback, or you can read through the notes which we'll be sending you. Okay, did you color any two emotions the same color? If yes, then try to associate those two emotions. I'm pretty sure you'll find a connection. Say, for instance, mine is hope and anger. So if I have to go by these two emotions, I can see a clear connection as to how my hope is related to my anger. Okay, so that's the way of communication, maybe. Um, there might be certain personal meanings which you can write it down. Are there more positive emotions or no more negative emotions? You have to also introspect in that. Count the number of positive emotions, count the number of negative emotions, and see which one is more dominant or which one is more powerful in your life. So if you have got more of negative emotions, try to figure out why you're feeling that way. And looking at the colors will also help you to get a direction as to what is stopping me from becoming more happier. Okay, because our goal is to become much more balanced and happier and much more liberating. So what is exactly stopping?
Hello,
So that
ma'am.
questions.
I want to ask something. I have colored sadness and grumpiness with the black and brown. Sadness with brown and grumpiness with black. What does that mean?
See, again, it's basically being in the background and being bored. So you can find out certain things which can make you happy. You know, the best way to do is, have you heard of that song, My Favorite Things? Raindrops and Roses from The Sound of Music. If you have not heard, please go back and check once, listen to the song, and you will see that being happy can be very, very basic. You know, you don't need vacation, or you don't need, those are of course there, but just to be in the moment and be happy, you don't need those fanciful things. It can be very basic, as to maybe buying an ice cream, 15 rupees ka ice cream from the corner store, or maybe just having a toffee. It can be anything, or maybe plucking a wildflower from somewhere on a walk. So first of all, list down. Along with this, we generally do this, write maybe 10 to 20 things which can bring you instant happiness. It's not about what makes you happy, about instant happiness. Maybe the smell of coffee, that makes me feel very happy and relaxed and good. So maybe I can just go into the kitchen if I'm feeling very droopy and down, and get some coffee for myself. Or it can be just taking a walk on the street. It can be anything which is personal to you. Okay, so do this exercise. 20 things, list down very small things which can bring you instant happiness. So this can be a task which you can do and keep it ready with you in your journal or somewhere. We generally have small jars where we fill it in with chits of paper written out. So whenever you're feeling unhappy, you take out a chit and start doing that. Okay, so that gives you a sense of relaxation. Physiologically also, that gives you a relaxation. So
Ma'am, please tell the name of the song again.
Sound of Music, Favorite Things.
Ma'am,
Okay, you can listen to that. Raindrops and Roses. So that's a very beautiful song which shows you very basic things in life can give you happiness. Okay, so if you have more of dominant negative emotions, try to figure out why that is happening. How am I supposed to get out of it? And the best way is to practice this particular method which I've just discussed. And the second one, which we do, is the gratefulness activity also. You know, the gratefulness, every day when you wake up, you just say 3 things which you're grateful for. That's all you need to do. Throughout the day you will feel more positive. Okay, and another thing which you can do is, when you wake up, just point out one thing which you're excited about throughout the day. You know, the first thing when we get up in the morning, oh my god, I have to go to work. Rather than that, switch word into, okay, I'm excited about coming back home and having a cup of coffee with my family, or I'm excited to go to office and meet so and so person, or I'm excited that on my way back I'm going to stop by this shop and buy the thing I really need, or on my way back I'm going to call one of my friends. So just setting a agenda for the day for which you're excited will immensely affect your mood, and trust me, it does. Okay, just try to practice these two along with this activity. What I would request you, see, it's not possible to cover everything in a day because it's a huge area of work. So what we'll be doing is sending you the color meanings. do this exercise much more in depth. Write down the questions, a few more questions I'm going to give you, which journal in. And what you do, if those who are interested to get the certificate, we'll be sending you a submission link, submit it there. And if you have any other queries related to this activity, please feel free to put it in the group. But I would request you not to spam it. Only if you need a clarification, please do it. Or else you can share your responses and exchange ideas, or have any queries. People can come up with a lot of queries with that.
Ma'am, I have a question. Ma'am, what if I'm coloring two contrasting emotions with a light color like pink?
Mm-hmm. Can you name the emotions, please? That's a good
Like I have colored calmness and sadness with pink color.
maybe pink. See, again, it's related to empathy. You feel calm when you are empathetic towards people, or you show your empathy towards others. You like helping people, but in the process, it makes you very sad. Okay, so it's again, we are looking into a second-hand stress. So try to draw boundaries as to where you can draw a line, where you can stop yourself from taking in that second-hand stress. People who do not know what second-hand stress, please read it up as a part of your homework, because reading is also required. Second-hand stress is something which is borrowed from others. It is not a direct problem of yours. Okay, so that might be a contradictory issue for you. Okay, so wherever.
And ma'am, what about using same color with different shades in a single emotion? Like I've used light pink and a dark pink in a single triangle of happiness.
It generally signifies intensities. Maybe it's a fluctuating emotion for you.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
It goes in the peak, sometimes it goes down in the valley. So it's not never a constant thing. It goes up and down. And very frequently, maybe.
Okay, ma'am.
How do we counter white color?
See, countering would include anything which is balancing. Again, balancing colors can be any positive color, ranging from orange to green to a little bit of yellow. Okay, but also it depends on the communication system. So blue helps a lot. So if you have someone who's white all the time, so they have major issues in not understanding other people's perspective. Okay, they are being very rigid with their own things, maybe due to several reasons of their own. But they do not want to communicate, neither they don't want to take in other people's opinion. So if you want to break that cycle, blue is a good color, maybe a softer shade of blue, and then moving on to green. If what we generally do is ask people, whichever contradictory colors they have, whichever problem areas they have, we recommend some other color, and we ask them to make paintings, for not paintings as such, drawings with that particular color only. Say if it's blue and green, some painting out of blue and green. Say for instance this one, maybe you can splatter watercolor, or you can just use a crayon or a color pencil to color in. There are adult coloring books also where you can color in with those particular colors. Or else it is recommended that they use certain clothing. Clothing is the most dominant because you're wearing clothes all throughout the day. So it affects in a way. See, color, if you have to understand that why this suddenly color and emotion and this and that, color, I must tell you here, it's a very scientific way. Whatever sunlight we are receiving, that has certain color spectrums, and that gets into our body and triggers our hormonal systems. Okay, that is related directly. It's a physical element, it's a biological element, both of them, which affects us emotionally. So color is not a fake science. Understanding colors, it has immense effects on your body. Okay, so if you are using colors in your therapy systems, be very, very clear. Read up articles on the biological, physical perspective of colors also, because that has great impact in your hormonal system, the endocrine system.
Dr. Ria, a question. I've seen some people use only positive emotions, not a single negative emotion will be there. Is it, I know candidates become a little judge. I mean, they feel we judge them. Okay. I understand that logic. But is it really a true, how to say, true illustration of the feelings? Everything positive, not a single negative one.
May not be, because if you match the emotion with the color, if in case they have a negative color, why color here? Because it's abstract. It's not something which we learn from our childhood about color meanings and this and that. So when they're using maybe constructive words which they can fake out, but the color they're using can give you a different perspective altogether. That's why we
Okay.
combine these two. Okay, so if you
Something
see,
like yeah, joy and the dark blue color, you know?
yes,
Yeah.
that will give you indicators as to maybe there are conflict areas related to this.
Okay, thank you.
So that comes up. Okay, I guess today we have to sum it up. Next week, hopefully it will be a Sunday only. If there are any changes of time, I will let you know. I hope this was kind of added some benefit to your understanding. So the next one, which we'll be doing, Totem Animals. This is a very interesting area. Even I love this because this has helped me a lot to deal with my anxieties and all. So I'll be sharing this next week. For the time being, your assignment would be to work on this, to complete the assignment, to work on these questions, and a set of questions for for further introspection. I'll be sending out in the mail. I'll be posting it in the group as well by the end of the day. And I'll give you a deadline to submit, most probably before the next week starts. Okay, before say Sunday, next Sunday, so that you can submit by then and we can process your certificates and all after we are done with the next set of things. Okay, so any confusions, you feel free to personally DM me. And if you want to share it with the group, you're most welcome. And thank you all for staying with us for so long. It was lovely meeting you after a long, long time. I've not been doing such workshops for a very long time, but I'm glad I started off. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Ma'am, I just want to ask one question, that where do we submit the assignments?
You'll be getting a link, and also the assignment, the other this thing, the material which I'll be sending you. It will be a drive link from which you can download. Okay, the color
And
meanings and all, you can download it there. The
it would be
template,
on the WhatsApp group.
WhatsApp as well as mail. We'll be sending you there.
And
Okay,
where will be the assignment questions which we have to do?
Everything I'll send you in the mail on WhatsApp link. You will get all the details. There will be a link to submit. There will be a Google form on which you need to upload it.
Okay, ma'am. And one more last question. That is my feeling of happiness. I use two color, that is green and red. So what is the thing? I just want to use it, and I use for that reason.
Which meaning you're talking about? Which one?
In the emotion circle for happiness, that is my first emotion feeling that I put there, and I used green and red both color into that thing.
See, red over here may be meaning a lot of energy and passion and something to do with whatever you like, your love life or anything of that sort. It can be that.
Okay.
And green is, of course, a new learning, something where you're trying to strike a balance, maybe something to do with your partner, or maybe your passion about certain career options where you can find balance. So finding out balance will help you. Maybe you're taking in too much. So if you can plan it out and balance.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you for all your kind words. I'm overwhelmed with happiness right now.
Thank you.
Ma'am, just one thing.
Yes.
I just wanted to say that we can actually create a journaling, and where we can do our assignments and submit it. That will
Yes,
be fine.
yes, of course. Yes, I would love to see that. Yes, yes, of course. Of course.
Ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
When do we use it with our clients? This particular activity?
See, I would recommend not directly after the first session, but whenever you feel that they have certain things which are blocked, their emotional aspects, they are unable to figure out, even after telling them what to do, giving them directions, they are unable to figure out their core emotions. Okay, maybe you can start off with a scribbling activity, which we'll post on Instagram. That's the very basic thing which we do. And then you can build on this after you introduce the scribbling activity. Okay, scribbling we have done earlier also. That's why I did not want to discuss it today, but I'll be reposting it again. on our social media. So just check through it once. The scribbling acts as a, you know, a gateway to more of art-based therapy techniques and makes you feel more relaxed. You don't feel judged. So this one maybe you can use in order to psychoeducate them with about emotions and also explore what are their core requirements at this moment if they are unable to express. Or also, even if they are able to express, you can always do it as a part of your therapy sessions. You know, that gives you a lot of insight.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much, all of you. Have a nice weekend. Weekend is almost over, however, but have a great week ahead. And thank you so much. Bye bye.